Hi, I'm Havilah Malone, #1 best-selling author, Napoleon Hill certified leader, and the Queen of Inspiration, Miss Louisiana Universal 2018. I love Think and Grow Rich. It is an absolute game changer. It's a life changer. And I was actually first introduced to the Napoleon Hill Foundation's works through their audio renaissance series called The Richest Man in Babylon and the Magic Story that was on cassette. Yes. I was introduced to this in my early 20s and I listened to it, and it taught me principles about how to handle money. And I was actually able to save my first $20,000, and it blew my mind because I was spending through money like crazy. But even Napoleon Hill says, start where you stand with the tools you have at hand, and as you go along, better tools will be provided. So being on that self-development journey, listening to amazing, cassettes at the time on personal development, it led me to Think and Grow Rich. So those original 13 principles of success through Napoleon Hill's book, this right here, it's so rich and it was so deep. And when I was first introduced to it, it was really deep for me. And there were principles that I really grasped and I got, and I took them by the horns and I ran with them. And there were some principles that I didn't quite put into practice, and they were just kind of there as seeds inside of me. But even Napoleon Hill talks about when you're ready for a thing, that thing will appear. It will come to you. And I have used these principles in my own path to success, in my own path of development, and being able to do the things that I've done within my life. And I ended up being at this conference in Naples, Florida, and I met this phenomenal woman. She is Miss Ann McNeil, who is over the International Mastermind Association. And when I met Ann, we actually were there for the conference, but we were both in the business center. And she was on the phone, like talking to somebody, and I was at one of the computer stations. And she starts talking about Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And so my ears perked up and I'm like, wait, she's talking about Think and Grow Rich. And so after she gets off the phone, I go over and I'm like, I hear that you're interested in Think and Grow Rich. And so she asked me, she was like, well, what do you know of the book? And I was like, I think it's an amazing book. Like, it's a life changer. Like, I've been incorporating the principles in my life. And, I was like, what about you? Like, what's your connection with the book? And, she and I had this amazing conversation, this deep conversation about these principles of success from Napoleon Hill. And it ended up forming a very close relationship. And she, come to find out, was connected with the Napoleon Hill Foundation. And so she got me on the phone with the executive director, Mr. Don Green. He is an amazing soul. And I found out that there was a Napoleon Hill leadership course, and I really wanted to be able to take those principles of success and put them into me a little bit deeper, being able to learn them on a whole nother level, because I knew I was only using them at a surface level. And so I was getting really good results, but I knew there was more that was available to me. So I went through and actually did the certification course, which literally changed my life. And it presented an opportunity to be able to release some gifts and be able to help the next generation of little people, because I am the co-author of The Amazing Adventures of Oliver Hill. This is the 17 principles of success from Napoleon Hill's works, now for the first time in history, for the youth, for generations of children. Because don't we wish we'd have known the things that we know now when we were younger? the earlier we're able to incorporate these principles of the mastermind alliance and self-discipline and enthusiasm and these things that truly have shaped the lives of successful people, how much further we are and how much further we can get in our lives. So Napoleon Hill's principles for me have been such a huge part of my journey and the transformation of my mind. Really being able to realize that if you can conceive it and believe it, you can achieve it. I've become a #1 best-selling author. I have done some amazing, became Miss Louisiana Universal 2018. Oh my God. Been able to talk with and motivate audiences on stages around the world. And I give so much credit to the principles, and not just knowing the principles, but applying those principles in my life. I am so grateful that the foundation, that first of all, Napoleon Hill accepted the assignment from Andrew Carnegie, the richest man of the time, to go out and do those interviews with over 500 of the most successful people, from Thomas Edison to Henry Ford to President Woodrow Wilson and President Roosevelt, to find out what is it that they did differently than everybody else. How were they able to create the lives and the levels of success that they did, and to be able to boil that down into those principles of success and put it into a written philosophy that has affected generation upon generation upon generation, and will continue to do so, and can do it for you too. Pick up a copy of Think and Grow Rich. Start to learn those principles, incorporate them into your life, because they will change your life. That I can promise you. I was a young girl who had very low self-esteem. I was a young girl who could not stand the person I saw in the mirror, because I was a victim of child molestation, and it wreaked havoc on my own way that I saw myself, on the things that I thought that I could accomplish in my life, and my sense of self-worth. But learning those principles, incorporating those principles in my life, have completely shifted it. And I am a different person today, due in part from Napoleon Hill's principles of success from Think and Grow Rich. It is a game changer, a life changer. And I wish that for you. I'm Havilah Malone, the Queen of Inspiration. And here's to what you can conceive, believe, and achieve.